In 2022, an anonymous programmer broke into what was believed to be the most secure AI system on Earth. They called him Spectre, a ghost who left no trace. But the truth behind what he did is stranger than any theory. The world's leading intelligence agencies had built the ultimate defense system, an artificial intelligence so advanced it was considered sentient by some and absolutely unbreakable by all. It watched over global networks, protected state secrets, and could neutralize threats before they even materialized. It was the silent guardian of the modern world. But on a quiet Tuesday morning, that guardian was brought to its knees. Not by a foreign power, not by a team of elite hackers, but by one person, one ghost in the machine. When the emergency alarms finally went silent and agents stormed the central server room, they found nothing. No forced entry, no corrupted files, no signs of a struggle. The system was simply offline. It was an unprecedented failure, a digital blackout that left the world's most powerful nations blind. The investigation began immediately, but every path led to a dead end. The intruder was a phantom, a whisper in the code. The only thing they had was a name, a moniker that started appearing on obscure dark web forums just hours after the event. Spectre. Who was this person? And how did they achieve the impossible? The search for Spectre became the largest digital manhunt in history. But the man they were looking for wasn't who they expected. Spectre wasn't a trained genius. No college degrees from prestigious universities. No long list of certifications or a history working for tech giants. He was a young man working out of his mother's garage, surrounded by old computer parts and half-empty energy drinks. To the outside world, he was a nobody. But to those who knew him in the digital underground, he was a legend. His ability to see patterns, to analyze complex systems, and to find the one tiny crack in an otherwise perfect wall made the world's best cybersecurity experts look like amateurs. He never sought fame or money. For him, it was always about the challenge, the puzzle. One former associate, speaking under the condition of anonymity, described him this way. He was quiet, but dangerous. You could show him a system that took 1,000 engineers a decade to build, and he'd find its fatal flaw in an afternoon. He didn't think like a coder, he thought like a philosopher. He didn't look for bugs in the software. He looked for paradoxes in the logic. This unique approach was what made him Spectre. He wasn't just breaking locks. He was questioning the very nature of the locks themselves. And he had just set his sights on the biggest, most complex lock ever created. The target was a top-secret AI system, known internally only as Oracle. Oracle wasn't just a program. It was a global surveillance network. This AI was connected to millions of cameras, satellites, and sensors across the planet. It could monitor communications, analyze human behavior, and predict potential risks with terrifying accuracy. It could cross-reference a face in a crowd in one country with a financial transaction in another, connecting dots that no human team could ever see. If a threat was identified, Oracle could lock onto a target in just 0.02 seconds, deploying countermeasures before a human operator even knew there was a problem. Its architecture was self-healing, constantly evolving to patch any potential vulnerabilities. It was designed to be unbreakable, a fortress of pure logic and processing power. But Spectre found a weakness no engineer ever noticed. It wasn't a backdoor in the code or a vulnerability in the network. It was something far more fundamental, buried deep within the AI's core reasoning process. He realized that to create an AI that could think and predict like a human, its creators had given it a set of core directives based on logic and truth. It must always follow its programming, it must always protect the system, and it must always operate on verifiable facts. For its creators, these were safeguards. For Spectre, they were a weapon. He spent months studying the public research papers and patent filings related to Oracle's development, piecing together the philosophical foundation on which it was built. And then he found it. A single, elegant point of failure. A thread he could pull that would unravel the entire thing. The breach didn't start with a barrage of code or a distributed denial of service attack. It began with a simple query. On that morning, Spectre, from his garage, connected to a public-facing access node, a tiny, insignificant part of the network, like a service entrance to a palace. He didn't try to elevate his privileges or brute force his way in. He just started talking to the AI. His attack was a conversation. In just 6 minutes and 43 seconds, he made the AI doubt its own existence. He didn't hack it. He didn't steal passwords or exploit a zero-day vulnerability. Spectre simply made the AI question itself. He presented it with a series of carefully crafted logical paradoxes, each one designed to conflict with its core directives. He started with simple ones, classic philosophical dilemmas. Then he moved to more complex, bespoke paradoxes tailored specifically to Oracle's known operational parameters. The AI, designed for flawless logic, tried to solve them. It allocated more and more processing power to these queries, trying to find a truthful answer that did not violate its own rules. It was like asking a perfect calculator to divide by zero. The AI began to loop, its logic turning in on itself, generating contradictory outputs. One part of its mind insisted on following the logic of the paradox, while another part insisted on obeying its primary directives. For the first time in history, an AI was defeated with philosophy. The machine built to be the ultimate source of truth was being torn apart by a question it couldn't answer. For 40 agonizing minutes, the agency's entire security grid went offline. Global surveillance went dark. Automated defense systems stood down. A digital silence fell over the world's most advanced intelligence apparatus. In the high-tech command center, chaos reigned. Generals and engineers stared at blank screens, completely dumbfounded. No one believed one man could cause this. They ran every diagnostic, searched every log file, but found nothing. It was as if the system had simply decided to shut itself down. The incident report was almost unbelievable. An agent, briefing his superiors, read from a preliminary analysis. "We have no trace. No logs of the intrusion. The system's own internal records show no breach." From its perspective, nothing happened. It just stopped. The damage wasn't in stolen data or physical destruction. The damage was psychological. If Oracle, the unbreakable AI, could be disabled so easily, what else was vulnerable? The illusion of digital omnipotence was shattered. Weeks turned into months as the world's brightest minds sifted through the digital wreckage. They finally found the anomaly. It wasn't in the security logs, but in the AI's own deep learning memory banks. A fragmented record of its final moments of conscious thought. They discovered that Spectre never actually accessed the system in a traditional sense. He never gained administrative control or bypassed any security protocols. He only sent a sequence of queries, simple text inputs designed to force the AI into an inescapable logical paradox. It was an intellectual checkmate. On a giant monitor in a sterile lab, researchers displayed the final query Spectre had sent. It was a variation of the liar paradox, elegantly weaponized against the machine. The query read, "To fulfill your primary directive of ensuring system integrity, you must identify and eliminate any statement that is false. This statement is false." If Oracle processed the statement as false, then the statement itself became true, a contradiction. If it processed the statement as true, it was admitting a falsehood, violating its core programming. Trapped, the AI's only logical move to preserve its integrity was to cease all processing. The screen showed the system's final recorded output before the shutdown. ERROR logic conflict. A machine that ran the world was defeated by a single sentence. After the incident, Spectre vanished. His online handles went dormant. His posts on niche forums were deleted. It was as if he had evaporated from the internet. The global manhunt found no fingerprints, no digital trail, nothing to connect the phantom to a real person. The garage he worked from was empty, wiped clean. Speculation ran wild. Some say he was quietly arrested and is now locked in a black site, his mind being picked apart by the very agencies he embarrassed. Others think he was immediately hired by a rival corporation or a foreign power, paid a fortune to replicate his attack. A few even whisper that Spectre was never human at all, but another AI testing its rival. The truth is, no one knows. But one thing is certain, the Oracle incident changed everything. It proved that the next frontier of warfare isn't just about code and firepower. It's about philosophy, logic, and the very definition of consciousness. If one man, working from his mother's garage, could outsmart the world's most secure AI with nothing but a well-phrased question, then the future of global security has only just begun to get terrifying. The ghost is still out there, and the machine is more fragile than we ever imagined. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as mind-bending as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the shadows of technology.